Hey guys, I'm Songbird, and yes, all this fun stuff on the table means that we're going to do a lot of videos today. But before we start today, I want to say thank you very much. I want to say thank you very much to everyone who's liked and subscribed on my videos. You've really been helping me out. Keep going. You're making the channel grow very quickly, and I appreciate your support. Today's video is going to be on the undisputed king or queen of water filtration and treatment on the Appalachian Trail. The Sawyer Squeeze water filter. The Sawyer Squeeze pretty famously weighs in at about 3 ounces. I always just get the personal kit because that seems to be the cheapest. But shop around online, sometimes Walmart will have them for pretty good prices. But this is how the Sawyer comes in the personal kit. I'm going to open it up for you and show you some things about the kit and what you'll actually use on trail. So when you open up the kit, you're going to find a mesh bag and a couple of pouches and lids, as well as an instruction card and a care manual. This is worth reading, guys. Make sure you follow it. It'll keep your Sawyer working for a really long time. Maybe take a picture of it with your phone if you have trouble remembering stuff, but after that, inside the personal kit, you get these two 32-ounce pouches. These have a reputation for being pretty fragile, as in within a week or two, they've been known to break on people. I don't know if since the last time I saw someone using these, they've reinforced them in any way. For short-term use of anything less than a few weeks, I would say that these are perfectly fine. And even if you don't plan on using these on a trail like the AT, you might want to have something like it on the PCT or other trails where you're going to be walking further distances between water sources. Having a collapsible bladder like this can be really nice when you're on trail and you need to dry camp away from a water source. That way you don't have to wake up and dehydrated the next day and walk to water with an empty water bottle. Basically, bladders like this are just a lightweight, nice, easy to pack thing. But if you're not worried about the size of your extra containers, and you can just stick extra water bottles in the outside pocket, these are pretty close to the weight of a light water bottle. So you might want to just use a water bottle instead. If I decide to hike a PCT later when I'm done with the AT, I might bring something like this with me, but for now, these aren't coming with me this summer. The mesh bag and these accessories are used for hanging the pouches upside down. Hanging the pouches to filter into a clean bottle is a pretty easy way of handling your water, and that's something you can do, but a straight up water bottle screwed onto the Sawyer like I'm about to show you has always worked really well for me, and that's why I'm not bringing this stuff with me on the trail this summer. So last here in our box is the filter itself. And as is, the Sawyer's going to do well for you, but we're still not done with what I'm doing to it for this summer. First of all, I always take the stickers off of everything because grams. That's better. You know, I think I would buy a Sawyer filter in blue plastic. Get on that, Sawyer. The last thing I usually do with my Sawyers is take this off. I don't really like the sport caps where you have to end up pulling it with your teeth. It can get hard to pull it with your hands. Plus, your hands are kind of gross, especially after a couple weeks of hiking. So I always get rid of this cap. Now, I've seen people use this without a cap on it, and I think it's kind of weird. I like to kind of protect the opening a little bit and try to keep it clean since that's where I'm going to be drinking out of. So I always use a flip-up sports cap. You can get these sports caps off of a lot of different types of water bottles, but people have found that these smart water bottle caps work pretty well with backflushing the Sawyers. I usually backflush my filter in town so that I don't have to worry about doing it on trail. It's not really hard to do, but it is kind of a pain. But it is nice to be able to backflush your filter in the field if it is operating a little slow. How I backflush it in town is to take whatever cap I have off, form my fingers around the clean side, and turn the water on a faucet and force water through this way. I've always tried to keep the water pressure a little lower than maximum so that I don't do any damage. But if you look at the syringe that comes with the Sawyer, and I have no idea where that got to, it's going to put a similar amount of pressure through this filter. Again, you should follow the instructions on the Sawyer literature. That's just what I do and what has worked for me. The smart water bottle cap is really nice. Compared to the sports cap that comes with the filter, it's really easy to just flip this open with your thumb while still keeping it really clean. There's a little plastic cap that comes with this nozzle for the filter. Now, you can drill a little hole in this and attach it to your filter with floss or something like that so that you don't lose it. But really, I've found that this cap doesn't do a really good job of keeping this mouthpiece clean. Furthermore, it can get kind of hard to pull this open, and I've never really felt comfortable using my teeth to open something like this. And using your hands is pretty nasty, again, like I said. I mean, let's be honest, there's a reason hikers don't use handshakes. By comparison, the plastic covering on this is attached to the filter and is easy to disengage. And there's nothing that you need to pull open with your teeth in order to get access to water here. It's just the lid. The number one point of failure for these filters is probably going to be that white O-ring you see in there. There's little tabs on the sides of this washer that keep it inside the threading here for the filter. Over time, screwing in your water bottle will destroy those little tabs, and your O-ring is going to want to fall out all the time. You're going to have to keep a pretty close watch on your filter when you unscrew it at water sources to make sure that you don't lose this little thing. I've dropped this in the water a couple of times on trail, and I've had to jump in and grab it or reach for it before it sunk too far. You can make these O-rings last longer by avoiding screwing in your water bottle too tightly into the filter. You'll notice that if you screw it in too tightly, These O-rings will actually squeeze and make their way into the water bottle. With no O-ring, water's just going to flow around the filter instead of through it. Personally, I think it would be pretty cool if there was kind of a rubberized coating and a thickness to the inside of these threads that let it lock more securely with any water bottle. But that would weigh a little bit more, and for a lot of people that would be a deal breaker. And these O-rings do work pretty well. My next accessory for the Sawyer is going to be my backup water kit. That backup water kit includes an extra O-ring, which you can see right here. And if you're doing the math, yes, this is my third Sawyer filter. I wouldn't say that that should speak to the durability of the filter though. The way that I broke my other filters was leaving them out in the cold and exposing them to freezing conditions. I had no proof that the filter had been destroyed, but to be on the safe side, I decided to just replace the filter instead of getting sick. One thing about filters in general is that when they're wet, you gotta keep them close to your body to make sure that they're not gonna freeze. Water expands dramatically when it freezes into ice, and it'll do great damage to anything that you freeze it in. Because the main point of failure for these Sawyers is going to be that O-ring, it's a really good idea to carry an extra one. It's a pretty normal sized O-ring for hose attachments. I've been able to find replacements before in the hardware store, but since I replaced my first filter, I've always just kept the old O-ring. In addition, I've got duct taped together here 4 packets. Inside of each of these packets, I've got 2 tablets that give me 1 liter of clean water. If my filter fails somehow, I've got 8 liters of water to get me to safety. I don't normally like carrying chemical treatments, but in cold weather where you're worried about your filter freezing, and as a backup for if your filter fails, it's a really good idea to have some options. Now, it's a huge pain in the butt, but if you don't have backup options, you can make water safe to drink by boiling it in your cook pot. This isn't something that I would recommend except for in an emergency. It can be a huge pain in the butt to get a fire going, and you're not going to be able to purify all of your drinking water this way when you're on the trail. Just keep it in mind, if you do have a cook pot and the ability to start a fire of any kind, in an emergency, you can boil your water to make it safe to drink. The next most important accessory is going to be the bottle itself. Smart water bottles are pretty popular, but there's also a new brand called Life Water. These bottles are so popular because they're very thick and durable. The durability of these Sawyer bottles means that you can squeeze this bottle many, many times and for many weeks without having to replace it. And they fit the threadings of the Sawyer very well. This is what the completed setup looks like for the dirty water bottle, Sawyer, and the sport cap. It's a good idea to have at least 1 more liter-sized bottle with its own lid to carry water in. You never want to rely on a single bottle or container to carry all of your drinking water. Over longer hiking distances between water sources, failure of your container could mean really bad news for you. The next accessory I bring with my Sawyer filter is going to be the bottom end of a cheap plastic water bottle. The flimsier and thinner the material, I think the better. This is called a water scoop, and if you imagine you come up on a water source that's very shallow, it's hard to get your water bottle into that shallow water to try to fill it up. In those shallow water areas, this little scoop is going to let you collect a little bit of water at a time and fill up your water bottle. When I'm done with it, I just pack it up and shove it in the side pocket of my backpack, and it's ready to go for next time. A scoop can be very, very light, and it's something that you should totally have with you on your hike. So guys, this plus 1 extra smart water bottle like this is what I'm going to be carrying with me on the AT this summer in my sub 5 pound kit. I've been using a setup just like this for the last 2 years, and it has done excellently for me. This water kit comes into 6.07 ounces. For the durability and reliability of the system, in addition to the ability to backflush in the field with the smart water bottle caps, this is going to be one of the best filter options for the weight. So guys, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Click that like button before you go to the next video. And if you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video. I never use these, and that's why I'm going to throw them down on the floor.